This happened to me back in my high school days when I shared a room with my sister. I was completely obsessed with an anime called Black Butler, a story about a demon bound in a contract with a human. I loved it so much that I set the pentagram symbol from the show as my phone wallpaper. Everything was fine for a few days, but then one night, something terrifying happened. My sister was in college at the time, and we slept on a bunk bed, she on the top bunk, me on the bottom. Since I had early classes, I always set an alarm for 4:00 a.m. and kept my phone right beside me so I could turn it off easily. That night, we turned off the lights and went to sleep. In the middle of the night, my alarm suddenly started ringing. Still half asleep, I reached around with my eyes closed, trying to find my phone. But I couldn't feel it next to me. The ringing kept going, and in a drowsy voice I asked my sister, "Where's my phone?" She answered in an annoyed, sleepy tone, "I don't know." After it rang for about 5 minutes, I said again, "I can hear it coming from up there. Stop messing around and give it to me." Then she replied, "Okay, I found it, here." I slightly opened my eyes, but it was pitch dark and I was still groggy, so my vision was blurry. I didn't really look around. An arm reached down from the top bunk and handed me the phone. But when I glanced at it, I saw long, thin fingers with sharp nails. I was so sleepy that I didn't fully register what I'd seen. I looked at the screen. It showed 3:00 a.m., even though I was certain I'd set the alarm for 4:00. Too tired to think, I just ignored it all and went back to sleep. The next morning at around 6:00, I asked my sister, "Why didn't you turn off the alarm? You had my phone, right?" That's when the real horror hit. She looked completely confused and said, "What are you talking about? I was fast asleep. I never woke up and talked to you that early." My heart stopped for a second, and cold sweat ran down my face. I whispered, "Then who was I talking to, and who handed me the phone?" Everything came rushing back. We stared at each other in pure terror. From that day on, I never used that wallpaper again. That night, both of us slept together on the bottom bunk. Even now, my sister and I still remember that horrifying experience. Sometimes I wonder, what if I hadn't been so sleepy that night? What if I had sat up and turned on the light? This happened about 9 months ago. I'm still trying to get over it. I used to be a really shy girl with no friends. I stayed away from social media because I thought it would distract me from studies. But on January 2nd, I decided to try Instagram for the first time, hoping I might finally make some friends. While scrolling, I came across an account that posted hilarious videos. I loved it, so I sent a message. The girl running the account was the same age as me. For privacy, I'll call her Renata. We became close very quickly. At first, we just shared funny reels. Then, we started opening up about our lives. I told her how lonely I felt and that she was basically my only friend. She sent me pictures of her family and even gave me her address, saying I could visit anytime. But about a month later, she suddenly stopped replying. I kept sending reels and asking if she was okay. Nothing. A week later, she finally messaged back with just, "I'm fine." I told her how worried I'd been, but she said everything was okay. Looking back, that was the first red flag. After that, whenever I sent something funny, she'd only react with an emoji. Anytime I tried to talk about deeper stuff, she'd just say, "Oh," or Then one day, she sent me a long, detailed message describing exactly how to kidnap and murder someone. I was terrified. I thought maybe it was a sick joke, but it didn't feel playful at all. The sane girl who used to send memes was now writing like a complete psychopath. Then she asked for my address. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. I sent her a voice note saying that message made me extremely uncomfortable and she should never send anything like that again. Honestly, I couldn't even finish reading the whole thing. Her reply was even worse. "Which part of that message made you uncomfortable?" I stopped responding and blocked her immediately. About a week later, I went out of town to visit my aunt. That's when I noticed something strange. The address Renata had given me was very close to where I was staying. Even though I was hurt and scared, part of me still cared. She had been my only friend, so I decided to go visit her. It would be our first time meeting in person. The neighborhood was confusing, but the neighbors helped me find the house right away after I showed them her photo. Now I understand why they were so quick to help. The house was big, just like in the pictures she'd sent. It was quiet, too quiet. I rang the doorbell. A woman opened the door. It was Renata's mother. I nervously said, "Hi, I'm here to see Renata." Her mother's face went pale, like she'd seen a ghost. A man. Her older brother Ryan rushed over, looking both angry and terrified. That's when I saw it, a framed photo of Renata on the wall, surrounded by flower garlands. My entire body went ice cold. They told me Renata was dead. She had been murdered by a psychopath. The police were still looking for him. And the worst part, the method used to kill her was exactly the same as the one described in the message sent to me. I told her family everything. They were devastated. Her brother called the police and tried to comfort me. I don't know what happened after that. I didn't ask. I never went near that house again. The whole thing left me terrified and completely alone. My family supported me, and therapy helped too. I'm doing better now, but I still think about it. I keep wondering, what if I had given that account my real address? Who was really behind it? And why were they messaging me from my friend's phone even after they had killed her? June 9th, 2013. Gifford Pinchot National Forest, Cougar, Washington, one of the oldest national forests in the United States. A 19-year-old woman named Maureen Kelly, born in 1993, went camping with friends at Canyon Creek Campground. Late that night, she walked alone into the deep woods, stripped completely naked, and vanished. She has never been found. This is a true story. During the trip, something suddenly changed in her. Out of nowhere, she announced, "I'm going on a spiritual quest." Then she did something no one expected. She took off all her clothes and tied a small pouch around her waist. Inside the pouch were only 3 items: a knife, matches, and a compass. No food, no water, no light. She promised her friends, "I'll be back before midnight," and walked straight into the forest. One of her friends, Amanda Ziegler, later said that Maureen had often talked about wanting a profound spiritual experience. But even she couldn't understand why Maureen chose that exact moment, or why she went in completely naked. The group eventually fell asleep. When morning came and Maureen still hadn't returned, they called for help. Authorities launched a massive search, over 100 people, helicopters sweeping the canopy, search teams combing the undergrowth. They found barefoot prints on a gravel road near Canyon Creek that matched Maureen's size. Canine units were brought in to track the scent. But then something inexplicable happened. The footprints stopped dead in the middle of the road. There was no sign of where she went next. The dogs lost the scent completely. It was as if she had simply disappeared into thin air. Investigators said hypothermia was the most likely cause. Night temperatures were low, and she had no clothes. But if she died from exposure, why was her body never found? People who knew her all described the case the same way: strange, deeply unsettling, and unexplainable. Some believe she was kidnapped, though the chances of encountering a violent stranger in such remote woods at night were extremely low. Others think she might have crawled under a fallen log or into a crevice to escape the cold and never came out. But the biggest question remains: why did she suddenly strip naked and walk alone into the forest? What was going through her mind? What did she believe she would find? 12 years later, there are still no answers. Maureen Kelly remains missing, and her disappearance is one of Washington State's most haunting unsolved mysteries.